What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the retrograde. So we're going to go through the 12 signs retrograde from Aries to Pisces. So the retrograde pretty much represents energy from your past life that you circumstances, sorry, from your past life that you brought into this lifetime that you need to work on. So you might have missed the opportunity to really put in the effort to manifest that situation or that experience or that skill or that ability. So it's very important that you learn it this lifetime. So that's what retrogrades are all about. It's all about bringing past experiences and circumstances and mastering those abilities. So now let's get to it. Now we got Aries in the first house, right? Sorry, retrograde in Aries. Give me a second. So retrograde in Aries. Having retrograde in Aries, you're here to bring back that energy or that experience of you learning how to be an individual, learning how to master your own ability, learning how to walk alone in your own path, and mastering that. Um, Learning how to be um, dynamic in what you're doing. You know what I mean? Got to be one of a kind and creating your own experiences and your own circumstances, in your own situation. You cannot rely on other people. So it's not like Libra, which is the 180-degree, which is more of a social type of energy where you need other people in partnership. By having retrograde in Aries, you have to learn how to do things on your own. You got to learn how to be an individual. And the more you can do that, the more you actually be able to bring things into fruition and you actually be able to master yourself and master thyself because you got to know thyself, right? And which becomes that's what spirituality is. It's all about your individual ability to make things happen by yourself. So having retrograde in Aries, you're here to learn that experience. You're here to relearn that experience and you're here to master that experience and that ability. Now, if you go retrograde in Taurus, you're here to bring back that experience and that ability of bringing things into fruition, making things tangible, learning how to be fixated on something that is practical, whether it's your values, it could be morals, or it could be a business or any type of work that you're or hobby that you're interested in. But it's all about being fixated on something that can bring you stability. And the more you learn how to do that, the more you've mastered the lessons of your retrograde. You've brought back that experience and you've actually learned what you need to learn from that. Now, having retrograde in Gemini, you're here to learn how to be more communicative, learning how to be more networking, more social, learn how to communicate with other people and um, learning other perspectives and mindsets. You know what I'm saying? Other ways of techniques of communicating. So it could be learning different languages. It could be learning, actually, no, languages is more Sagittarius energy, but it could be learning different facts, um, different talking points, just learning different ways of communicating poetry, rapping, um, different type of writing, learning how to do cursive writing, learning how to write from right to left in certain regions or from left to right in certain regions. You know what I mean? Depending where you're from. So yeah, it's pretty much just about learning and communicating in different unique ways. And the more you learn that, the more you've mastered your retrograde. Having retrograde in Cancer, you're here to be more nurturing and how to master your emotions. You need to be more dynamic with your emotions. You need to be more, I guess, impulsive with your emotions. You know, give death to something and give birth to something new. That's what that Cancer energy is when it comes to emotional based. It's all about destroying one form of emotion and giving birth to something new. That's what Cardinal is all about. It's all about birth. And for you to birth something, you gotta give something death. That's how it works. Um, so having retrograde in Cancer, you're pretty much here to learn how to be more family based, learn how to deal with your emotions, learn how to be emotionally intelligent, learn your intuition and your nurturing skills. And the more you can do that, the more you've mastered your retrograde. If you go retrograde in Leo, you're here to be more You're here to master your characteristics, your individual expression. You're here to be center stage. You know what I'm saying? So you got to learn how to do that. Maybe in your previous life, you're more about the people. You're more humanitarian. So here you in Leo now, having retrograde in Leo, you got to be more of an individual and expressing that and being happy to do that. You know what I mean? You cannot rely on other people to set up the stage for you. You got to create your own stage and be your own main performer. So that's what it means to have retrograde in Leo. You're here to re-express your inner child. You're here to re-express your happiness. You know what I'm saying? Having retrograde in Leo. Retrograde in Virgo. If you have retrograde in Virgo, you're here to master your ability to be more organized. You're here to master your ability to be more to be able to there's no compartmentalized. I think that's the word. But you're here to be more how do I say it? Have a routine. So maybe in your previous life you're all scattered, just like Pisces. Pisces is very scattered minded, but Virgo is more organized. You know, you gotta be more practical. You gotta have some form of stability that you can rely on as a routine and as a pattern, you know, as a habit. You know, you gotta be more health based. You gotta know your body because Virgo is more about the healing of the body, while Pisces is more healing of the mind and healing of the soul, healing of the internal. So when you have retrograde in Virgo, you're here to know thyself, know what type of health and dietary that you need to eat to keep your body sustained. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's diet is different. Everybody's mineral deficiency is different. So it's very important that you know thyself and you know what you need to work on to make your body more healthy. Also, you have to learn how to be just how to calm yourself down. Learn how to be more organized with your mind because it's Mercury, right? Virgo is Mercury, it's mutable Mercury, but it's internal. So you got to learn how to calm your mind down, your mind chatter, and utilize it in a more practical way, whether it's writing, communicating, um, you know, business, whatever you're into, you're utilizing that Mercury energy, but more in an organized way. And you're also learning how to be, um, you're just here to learn how to be, what's the word? I'm trying to find the word, but you're just pretty much here to make sure that you can know how to do things in your own way that makes sense to you, you know? Having retrograde in Libra, you're here to be more network. You got to learn how to network with people. You have to learn about your partnership, your relationships. You know, you were more of an individual in your previous life. You like to do things on your own, but in this lifetime, you're here to learn how to utilize other people. And the more you can utilize other people, the more things will manifest for you faster. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that you're not always doing everything by yourself and you're not forcing yourself to put yourself in those positions where you have to do everything by yourself because it's more weight on your shoulders. So it's very important that if you can at least have one person that you can partner up with to help you achieve your goals, then things will manifest for you faster instead of just doing things by yourself all the time. So that's pretty much Libra. Also learning how to be just to learn how to how to be more balanced in terms of your relationship and your experience or just your perspective in life, learning to see other people's perspective, learn how to understand the other side of things because it's like the scales, the balance scales, you know what I'm saying? There are two sides of everything, so the more you can master that, the more you're in your Libra energy. So if you go retrograde in Scorpio, you're here to learn how to be more take power control of your life. You're here to learn how to take power control of your experiences and your perspective and your actions and your emotions and just the things that you're passionate about. You're here to take power control of that. You know what I'm saying? So having retrograde there, that's what you need to learn within this lifetime to have a healthy power and control. And the more you can have a healthy power and control, the more things will manifest for you because the more you'll be able to utilize that Pluto energy to transform your experiences, you know, from being down and out into something more greater. You know what I mean? You're rising from the ashes, having retrograde in Scorpio. You're here to be more to embrace your sexuality, embrace your your power. You know what I mean? You're here to embrace your emotions, your deep emotions, your deep n- um urges, of wanting to know or just wanting to seek. You know what I'm saying? Um, Also, you're here to learn how to be more, how to merge your energy. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to merge, whether it's with yourself or with other people that are like-minded. So that's what you're here to do. Having retrograde in Scorpio. If you have a retrograde in Sagittarius, having a retrograde in Sagittarius, you're here to be more explorative. You're here to expand, whether internally or externally. Either travel and meet new people, new cultures, understand other people's perspective in life and the way they live their life, or expand your mind, expand the way you perceive existence, the way you see things in the outside world, your philosophy, your knowledge, your teaching, all these type of things. You're here to expand that. Um, yeah, and just learn from your experiences, because your experiences is the greatest teacher, what I mean, that you're going to learn from. So it's very important that you're not so closed-minded, because obviously Geminis are very inquisitive type of people. They like to learn, they like to know things, but it's always within like a more simplified way of experiencing things or explaining things. You're here to actually expand your knowledge, expand the boundaries of your perception. So it might seem foreign to you, but eventually you'll be able to encapsulate that knowledge from that perspective. So it's very important that you're learning how to be more open-minded, and you're learning how to see other people's perspective before you make your own judgment on what you want to perceive things as. So that's having retrograde in Sagittarius. Just learn how to travel, be more open minded, um, be open to new experiences and new perspectives, and new philosophies, and new teachings, and new ways of seeing spirituality. Retrograde in Aquarius. Yes. No, Capricorn. Having retrograde in Capricorn, that's pretty much saying that you're here to be more business minded. You're here to be more stable. You're here to find something to build on. You know what I mean? So you got to find some form of stability, some form of foundation, some form of uh how that solid ground. You know what I'm saying? Something that can be practical, that you can expand and you can make into a business, and you can make into a legacy, and you can build on it and make it into something that can be forever lasting. So it's all about learning how to not really deal with emotions, but deal with practical matters. That's what you're here to do. You're here to be more practical. You're here to be more solid, whether it's emotional based or just the way you perceive things and the way you act. You know what I'm saying? So you got to retrograde there. You just have to learn how to be more not really not really take things personal. It's all about business. That's what Capricorns are really good at. They don't take things personal. They see things more business minded. You know what I'm saying? So as Capricorn or retrograding Capricorn, you have to learn how to be more business minded and see how you can make a profit from these type of experiences and situation. Even if it's a traumatic experience you had, you still got to find a way to make a business out of it. So you could, like comedians. Comedians are a perfect example of making a business out of their own pain and trauma, and turn it into something that they and other people around them can laugh about. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Capricorn energy is all about. Retrograde in Aquarius. Having retrograde in Aquarius, you're here to be more individualistic minded, but amongst other people. So you're here to find yourself, even though you're amongst other people, and then move into that tribe. Because Aquarius is still based on tribal energy, even though there's still a unique, um, even though they still have a unique perspective or a unique mindset, or they stand out amongst the crowd, but they still like to be in that tribe. So one thing about Aquarius is all about knowing thyself, and once you know thyself, that's when you'll be able to be amongst the people that are like-minded. So that's what you're here to be. You're here to be for the people, whatever that might be. When I say for the people, I'm not talking about political wise. I'm saying like for the people could be anything. It could be a mechanic and be able to create a business where people can be able to interject their own opinion into that mechanic. So maybe you might create a business where people can call in live from Zoom and say, hey, this is how I want my car to look, or this is how I want my car to be fixed or designed, and things like that. Whatever, just an example. Because Aquarius has Uranus energy, so that's all about electricity. So you could create a business where people, like the customers, can call in um, while on live and explain to you how they want their car to be modified, for an example. But it's just an example, just pretty much knowing who you are as a person, or knowing what you like and what you stand for, because that's Saturnian energy. What you stand for, what is your foundation, what is your solid ground, what is practical to you, and then being amongst other people, aka fixated air, you know, and finding the people that you need to be with, that is unique to yourself and to others. So that's retrograde in Aquarius. Yeah, it's all about finding your tribe, your like-minded tribe, by knowing yourself. Retrograde, last but not least, in Pisces. Um, so you're here to be more imaginative. You know what I mean? You didn't have time for that in your previous life. You were more Virgo minded. So you're all about business, all about your work. You're working a lot, work, work, work. Now you're here to rest. Use your imagination more, because when you're busy working, your mind is, you're utilizing your mind to figure things out. You know what I'm saying? But when you have time to rest, that's when things can come to you and you can absorb new information and new imagination. So it's very important that you're in the energy of resting and you don't feel bad for that. So if you have a retrograde in Pisces, you're here to rest and find your imaginative side, your spiritual side, things that bring inner peace and inner wellness and inner happiness, and you can feel bliss. So that's what you're here to. That's what you're here to do. Um, you're here to feel at ease and feel pleased with who you are as a person, and the way you express yourself and the way you express your emotions. Um, so it's all about finding your version of dream, your own dream, your own version of creativity. And the more you can find that, the more you're truly mastered the energy of the retrograde. You've mastered what you needed to bring back from your previous life into this life. And you know what I mean? It's pretty much that's what retrograde is all about. It's all about giving you another chance. If you weren't able to achieve that in your previous life, now you can do it in this lifetime. So always look out for your retrograde in your natal chart, because it'll really help you to know what you were lacking in your previous life and what you need to master in this lifetime. But yeah, guys, that's the video for today. Hope you guys gained something new. And until next time, I'll catch you soon.